Gonna start recording. And then I'm gonna step off frame. Alright. Alright. Subnautica 2 Part 1 and action. And unfortunately, guys, it is not gonna be a Subnautica 2 video Part 1, unfortunately. Because I'm lazy, I'm unmotivated, and it's really hard to make videos when you're just one person, at least in a quick and efficient manner. So here we are. Hello. My name is Lyoko Sector. Don't know if the audio is working properly right now or being picked up. I probably should have run a test on that before doing this recording, but you know what? We're just going to wing it, and hopefully the audio is recording. I'm getting bars on my microphone right now, so let's hope and see. So, why is this not a Subnautica 2 video? Well, it's because it's going to be a video game showcase video. Woo! So a lot of video games have been announced. We recently had a few big events: Sony PlayStation State of Play, the Xbox Game Showcase. We also had Summer Games Fest with Geoff Keighley. Lots of exciting new game announcements and such and such. And so I'm going to go over the games that were announced recently that I was the most interested in. I'm not going to do a full showcase of like everything. I'm going to try and keep this video as condensed as I possibly could. I originally thought about live streaming all that stuff, but I already missed this PlayStation State of Play before I was even thinking about that. And then I was like, oh, it'll be a long hour presentation and video, which I mean, I might have enough space on my PC to record and do, but I might also not. So we're just going to kind of keep things condensed and basic and kind of go from there. So hopefully you guys are, enjoying your day. Hello. Trying to be like that one YouTuber, Mug Thief or whatever, where he's like, hello, you're looking fabulous and beautiful, and if you would, please like and subscribe, but only after you've watched the video, if you think I've earned it. Funny little Mug Thief impression right there. Shout out to Mug Thief on YouTube, by the way. It makes some pretty interesting video game commentary stuff on there. So anyways, so let's get into it. I have everything pulled up on my browser here, which I am not sure. How do I make that visible? Display capture. Okay, bear with me here for a second while I do that. Window capture. Source. Browser. Just added a browser source. I'm going to cancel that. Get rid of that. Cancel that. Discard. All right, hang on here. Window capture. Okay, specific window. Chrome. Here we go. There we go. All right. That's a little too wide of a capture here. Let me, well, that's the exact same. I already have a window capture. Get rid of this. It's a disaster. Properties. Chrome. Subscriptions. Oh, because it was trying to do a thing that it doesn't exist anymore. There we go. All right, now we're cooking with Diesel. Completely ignore this YouTube page here. All right, so... all right, well, spoilers for the first game that we're going to talk about today also. I mean, well, spoilers also if you can... well, I guess there's too many tabs open in Chrome that you can't necessarily see all that. But yeah, before we get started in all this, why don't we... get nice and settled here with some nice, cool, crisp Pepsi and my freshly washed Pepsi mug. because before I started recording this video, I looked in this mug, and this mug was full of dust and hair and whatever else, because I had just been sitting on my desk collecting it because I hadn't been doing anything with my life. So we'll do that. And then also we have a special treat today, literally a treat. Because we have cotton candy, because we were at Sam's Club and my brother decided that we needed cotton candy. So we got cotton candy, we got Pepsi. It's a fun time all around, guys. And like the games industry and the rest of in the AI boom and all that, it's a circus for sure. So that's why we got the cotton candy here, I guess. So let's dig in. Is this like a cotton candy mukbang now? Threaded sugar. I'm just gonna set that there. And I'll just pluck pieces here and there. All right, so let's get into the discussions. I'm not actually going to show any footage. I might try and find like specific stops and pauses in certain trailers and videos to kind of go about talking about certain games. But I guess we'll just jump right into it. Starting off with Alien Isolation 2. Which was a surprising little announcement. At first, I wasn't sure exactly what this game was in the beginning, with what they were showing and stuff like that, but then immediately, when I saw this door shape right here, I knew, oh, that's Alien Isolation, and then it makes sense with all this like retro tech computer stuff that they're doing. It's interesting. I'm interested in what they're going to do. I guess some parts of it will be open. It shows off... I think we're gonna like be approaching the crash site of the Nostromo, because they showed where was it? Yeah, this is from the Nostromo, isn't it? This is like the medical bay or whatever. So maybe we'll actually get to see what happened after the first game. Played a little bit of the first Alien Isolation, and obviously I'm just a big baby who, can't play or do horror games. So, never got through it, but very beautiful looking game. The AI and the alien was top notch. And I'm curious to see where they go from there. So, it'll be cool if there's certain open world elements where we have to avoid the alien. I wonder how, like, the cover and all that will work in this dynamic, but I'm sure they'll do a good job, just like they did with Alien Isolation 1. Also crazy that it took so long for us to get Alien Isolation 2. Oh. Moving on. Gen Atlas. So I remember this game being showcased, I think at another one of the Game Awards. Either at the Game Awards or another Summer Game Fest or something like that. And I believe it's from the same people who made Shadow of the Colossus and stuff like that. Which was a really popular game about, being a really small boy trying to fight giant monsters and all that kind of stuff. But it was very popular because it's like you would have to physically climb these like massive, huge things and you're like so small. I'm not going to go into a huge lore dive about that, but you were taking down those colossi to save your girlfriend or something, bring her back to life or something. And you made a bargain with a huge evil force or something like that. But anyway, so this is from the same people that made it. So like it still keeps the same motifs where you're like, a little guy riding on this robot head. And I guess you can find, new bodies and stuff like that, and you can create them, and it's, the huge, massive scales. of things yet again. So pretty interesting to see what exactly the story and the combat will look like. But yeah, it features you like climbing up giant robots and stuff like that, and it's got this weird gray kind of futuristic world here. So definitely going to be interesting to see how that all turns out. Moving on. Star Wars Galactic Racer. This one I'm a little bit interested in. I never played the original pod racing Star Wars games. I think there was like only one or two or something like that. I don't know. Never played it. But it's interesting to see that they would go back to this one. And so I'm really curious about how it's going to play. I really am hoping that they can keep... Because like one of the complaints of the original one way back in the day was that it was just too fast. So fast and that you would end up crashing and dying a lot of the times. And that's like the whole point of the races of pod racing, right? It's fast, it's dangerous, and you could die pretty easily. And it's like, and so like I never really understood that, but I mean, I guess there was a misbalance of like the speed versus the controls or something like that at the time, or something like that. But anyways, I hope they can make it feel good, and they can still keep the fast pacedness of everything, but still kind of not necessarily make it frustrating to play and stuff like that. And I'm curious if they'll have that similar mechanic where it's like if you do really good, then, or no, I don't think this was a mechanic. I think I'm thinking of something else. But it's like if you do too good, then like the other races get progressively harder or something like that. But yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see. Apparently the people who worked on Burnout made this game, which will be interesting if that's the case, because then I think they show off in some segments, like vehicle destruction and stuff like that. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how cool that is. I wonder if you can maybe potentially get malfunctions in the middle of a race, or potential sabotage, kind of like what Anakin's pod race experienced because of Sebulba. And like you'll have to make like on the spot, on the fly kind of QTEs or something to kind of like fix it, or maybe they'll just keep it kind of straightforward. But Star Wars Galactic Racer, definitely not the game people expected to come out Star Wars related, but hey, we're glad it's here, aren't we? Moving on, 1666 Amsterdam. Now, when I first saw this game, I was a teeny bit intrigued, but honestly, I wasn't really too interested in it. Wasn't even really sure what it was. Game-wise, but then I saw, I watched a YouTube video, I think it might have been Spawn Wave, or something like that. Shout out to Spawn Wave, by the way, really great video game news and commentary. He really pumps out videos on a nice, consistent basis. But anyways, so apparently the guy who's developing this game or writing the story or whatever, apparently he was an ex-Ubisoft employee. He originally worked on the original Assassin's Creed games, and through a whole bunch of bullshit and whatever, he was like exiled, or they like bought his studio just to fire him again. It's really interesting stuff. I implore you to go and check it out and stuff like that. But then like after kind of hearing that story and his background, where he came from, now what you're kind of seeing in the trailer kind of makes sense. And so it is kind of be very Assassin's Creed-y in terms of like the gameplay. And so you're playing as, I guess, a witch or something like that during like those Salem witch times, and paranoia and all that kind of stuff. Except in this case, it's actual witchcraft. So I mean, I guess their fears were founded and stuff like that. But so it's going to be an Assassin's Creed kind of style game, which will be very interesting to see. It's definitely piqued my interest. Apparently, there's a prologue available for this right now, which I haven't played yet, but maybe if I'll check it out if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, I'm curious to see where that goes, and I like the title Amsterdam 1666, or sorry, 1666 Amsterdam. Pretty interesting little thing there. Moving on. Star Wars Zero Company, another Star Wars game to get excited for. So this is from the people that made XCOM. So it's an XCOM style Star Wars game, which a lot of people are surprised that was never happened, but you know, when it comes to Star Wars, you know, anything is possible or anything is not possible because people just don't know how to do Star Wars properly. So here's to hoping that they do it. Never played XCOM myself. I might have played it a teeny bit, but I never even finished a single combat mission or anything like that. But it'll be interesting to see kind of like the customization in the characters. They tease Anakin Skywalker at the end here, so I guess he'll be... This apparently takes place during the Clone Wars, so I guess you'll be able to have him in your Zero Company, which I don't know how that makes sense, but, you know, hey, it's Star Wars. People like Anakin, so I guess that's fine, but be curious to see some more stuff. But yeah, so interesting game with some turn-based combat. We'll see how it all works out with that one. Saw Genesis. Gotta let the words sink in for a minute. This is what I was surprised to see this at the Summer Games Fest. Saw has always been one of those IPs where it's like, I mean, they've made a few video games, but they haven't really made a ton. And the movies have kind of come and gone in certain, you know, ways. But visceral horror, you know, everybody loves that. And so it's a 3 versus 1 multiplayer co-op game. So like you're going to play as like a dungeon master, and then you're going to play as like the people trying to escape and stuff like that. And it looks pretty interesting. The main Jigsaw villain here appears to be this guy who I guess loses his brother or family member or something in World War I, which I was surprised to see a reference to World War I in Saw franchise, so that's pretty cool. Always a big fan of seeing World War I in video games and in media in general. But it looks like he suffers a horrific injury, and so now he is forced to wear this apparatus to kind of keep himself alive and stuff like that, which I hope we kind of get like an Immortum Joe style execution at the end or something, where it's like you rip the respirator right off and it just pulls his face off again or something like that. That'd be kind of gruesome and cool. And with a Saw game, I guess it's the one game where they could kind of get away with it. So, you know, we'll definitely see how that turns out. But yeah, you can see. I'm curious how it's the dynamic between the three is going to play out. And I wonder if it'll maybe have like kind of randomly generated elements, or if there are different maps and locations, or if it's the same map every time, but there can be different traps available or something. And I'm curious how much you, as like the game master, can kind of influence stuff. I don't think that's the game master. That might just be a player, but I'm curious to see how you can influence stuff. For sure. Yeah, it looks very, very gruesome. For sure, which is really always nice. So, yeah, Saw Genesis, gonna be interested to see that happen. All right, Stranger Than Heaven. Okay, so I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent. Full disclosure, this is just my opinion. But I saw this at Summer's Game Fest, and I was like, oh, cool, Stranger Than Heaven. It's a game that I've definitely been interested in. I'm definitely into this kind of like industrial Japan transitional kind of period where, you know, it's just a weird transitional period in Japan's history. And it's like, it seems very, very Yakuza inspired, which I've never played any of the Yakuza games. I've always kind of wanted to, but I could never really get into it and stuff like that. But so then I saw this at the Summer Games Fest, and I was like, oh, cool, we're going to get more Stranger Than Heaven news or gameplay or whatever and stuff like that. And then they're doing this, and I'm like, okay, they're kind of doing like a retro, like, you know, 70s kung fu movie style kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes in, and I don't recognize him. But I'm like, okay, maybe this guy will be integral to the story or whatever. And then the name Tupac comes up on screen, and I was like, okay, I see where this is going. And then they had Snoop Dogg come on stage at the Summer Games Fest and talk about how they had been working with the Tupac estate and his contacts with all that, and how they're excited to have him in the game. And I'm just like, I mean, I'm all one for celebrity cameos and stuff like that, and I don't know what I'm not a fan of Tupac. I believe he was like a songwriter, rapper, famous musical artist, that kind of thing. No disrespect to the man. He was killed. I think he was murdered, I believe. Or died of an overdose. I don't know. But he was a famous celebrity who died. And I'm pretty sure he was murdered. But and don't laugh at me if I don't know that, because like music, and especially like rap music, it's just not kind of my thing. So I do apologize to all the Tupac fans out there. No disrespect, of course, but anyway, so like, and it's not that I don't like the fact that Tupac is in this game, but well, I mean, it's hard to articulate. So it's like, up to this point, there was no indication that we were going to be getting Tupac in the game. If this was always in the announcements leading up to it, then I'd be like, fine. I mean, we knew he was going to be in it. People would probably still be interested. It's like this weird pivot where like everything kind of seemed to be, Jasmine, what is it, baby? What is it? Baby. Are you hungry or thirsty? Maybe. All right, bear with me, guys. One moment. I gotta take care of the baby. Come here. Come here, baby. Well, so much for being all in one unedited format. It's okay. It's okay, baby. I'm not mad at you. It's okay. Wish I could communicate with you. So I can tell you that I'm in the middle of recording a video, and then I'll get you later. You want some lovings? Yeah, maybe she was hungry. All right. All right, now where was I? Yeah, so like I said, so like we had all this promotional marketing material about Stranger Than Heaven, the nice looking trailers, the kind of like grounded theme of everything and all that kind of stuff. And I was genuinely interested in it because I like the aesthetic. I was curious about the gameplay and stuff like that. And then we get this announcement, and it's got Tupac in it, and Snoop Dogg comes out, and it's like, it just feels all kind of like out of the blue kind of a thing, where it's like, and I'm not saying, I mean, we don't know what the extent of Tupac's presence is going to be in like the actual story. Maybe it's just a side mission and it's just a cool, fun little reference. Or maybe he's more integral to the story than we know. But I mean, then you kind of get into the gray area of like, well, you're using a dead man's likeness in a video game, and it's like, sure, you can buy the rights to his likeness and all that kind of stuff. But then it's like, so like, is he going to be silent? Is he going to be voice acted? If so, who's going to voice act him? Are they going to use AI to do his voice and all that kind of stuff? And it just kind of comes out of nowhere. And, no disrespect to Tupac or Snoop Dogg or anything like that, but I just don't think that they needed to be in the game. I think the game was in good standing by itself. You know what I mean? But I mean, I don't know. Maybe Tupac was in some 70s or was really into some 70s kung fu movies or something like that, or he really liked those kinds of movies or stories or something. I don't know, but he's in the game now, so I mean, we'll definitely have to just look into it and kind of see where things go. But yeah, definitely kind of threw me off, and makes me wonder exactly how good the game's going to be, because it's like, and again, like, it's like, if you make it make sense, right? If it can fit into the story and all that kind of stuff, then and it doesn't take away from the rest of it, like, great. But a lot of times you see these celebrity cameos being thrown in there because they, for some reason, feel that they need to be added, either for, extra hype or boom or whatever, or, like, maybe they're not as confident in their game. They're like, oh, well, if we get a celebrity cast member like Tupac on here, maybe people will be more interested in our games and stuff like that, or something, you know what I mean? They're not added just for the sake of it, you know what I mean? So, because I guarantee that Tupac wasn't part of this conversation when they were first designing and coming up with this game. So something kind of changed there, and I guess it just makes me and other people a little wary about, like, what exactly they're, what's going on here in the game and the story and all that kind of stuff. So, but I mean, we'll see how it turns out, and we'll see how it is. I mean, I'll keep an open mind. Yeah, very interesting update to Stranger Than Heaven, so we're just going to have to see where it goes. But anyways, so moving on. Blood of the Dawnwalker. So Blood of the Dawnwalker was an interesting game. One that I've kind of been interested in on and off here and there. It's an interesting presence. So this is the Dawnwalker Saga trailer, which is interesting because they haven't even come out with the first Blood of the Dawnwalker yet. The first one it's going to be like a third-person action game where it's like, you're a half human, half vampire, and you're trying to stop this, like, evil vampire lord or something like that within a certain window of time, and it's like, you've got a certain number of days to get all your objectives in the main quest done, or you lose. Right, so it's pretty interesting with that, and there you get different abilities during the night, and you have in your human form during the day. So it's a very interesting game in itself already. And I was kind of keeping updates on it here and there, and kind of just keeping an eye on it. But then we get this Dawnwalker's Saga trailer at the Summer Game Fest. And it looks like it takes place in, like, the modern future with, like, package delivery drivers and all that kind of stuff. And so I guess our main character, since he's a vampire, he's going to be immortal, and he's going to be able to, exist through way different eras of time and all that kind of stuff. And so it's going to be pretty interesting to see if this is like an announcement. I don't think this is an announcement of a new game, but it might be, or maybe a DLC or something like that. So, definitely curious to see how that's going to go. But, yeah, pretty interesting. Also giving off cyberpunk vibes with that vest, man. But, yeah. Anyways, moving on. We got a little Pal World update. So, you guys remember Pal World? That game that was getting in some hot water with Nintendo. For, using their copyright or stuff like that. Well, we got a nice little 1.0 trailer for it that showed off a lot of cool things, but the main takeaways that I noticed as a part of this trailer for Pal World is that, one, they have the sphere balls back, which they had to take out of the game initially because Nintendo had sued them for copyright reasons, because I guess they were just too similar to the Pokeballs, even though they look nothing alike. And Nintendo wanted to argue that they patented and own the copyright for ball-like objects being thrown to capture monsters and stuff like that. So it looks like that didn't fall through. And then also later in the trailer, they show you riding on your pals, your companions and stuff like that. So that was another part of the lawsuit that they had to take out of the game initially. So then you had to use a glider for a little bit when you wanted to fly with your pals and stuff like that, because apparently Nintendo claimed that they had rights to riding on mounted animals to fly and stuff like that. And so it's really interesting to see that they're finally getting all that stuff back into the game, which is great because, fuck Nintendo and all the copyright bullshit that they do and that, other companies do. and all that kind of stuff. It comes a time where it's like, when you create a game or a song or an IP or something like that, and you release it to the public, there should be a mutual agreement that in exchange for all your wealth and success and popularity with the stuff that you created and released or the IPs you own and all that kind of stuff, that you allow fans and people to make their own kind of stuff, to inspire, to adapt, and neighbors are getting pretty rowdy. And to innovate, because copyright is kind of one of those things that's being weaponized to like withhold innovation and stuff like that. Thinking about like the Nemesis system in, Shadow of Mordor, where it's like you've got these different commanders who can remember you and all that kind of stuff, and it's patented by Warner Brothers, so like nobody else can use that system. I just think overall it's a bad thing, and it punishes fans of series and all that kind of stuff to just make copyright claims against everything. And Nintendo is definitely probably the biggest copyright company that's ever made any moves against anybody ever. But anyways, so glad to see that they've gotten so far in the point of their lawsuit that they can actually just openly, do that stuff and show that stuff without having to fear about, getting copywritten or anything like that. So, so Palworld 1.0 update. I played it a little bit. It's a fun little game, especially because, Pokemon can't seem to do anything else good in video games. So, yeah, that's why I'm happy for Palworld winning that, because they certainly did things better. Anyways, moving on. Let me get a nice little drink here. All right, what's our timestamp? 32 minutes. All right, that's not too bad. Let's try and keep it under an hour. Sand Raiders of Sophie. This is an interesting game that I saw. It's kind of like a open world, kind of like desert mech combat kind of game and stuff like that. And so you build deserts, you go around, you scavenge stuff, and then you build this giant mech that you can kind of, go around and battle other mechs, I guess. And it's currently in a open playtest right now. I actually am joined and became a part of that, so it's going to be interesting to jump in and kind of see that. But yeah, so very interesting, fun little game right there. Nice to see something interesting like that in the Summer's Game Fest. Crossfire. This was this one I'm kind of interested in. Maybe not so much as I was initially when I first saw it, but still definitely a game that I'm going to keep my eye on for at least a little bit. But basically, apparently there's a Crossfire game from before that this is kind of based around. And this is kind of like a semi-reboot or something like that, if I remember correctly. But basically, you're two operators. You play as this lady and this guy. You're both specialist operators, like modern Call of Duty or something like that. And you're stuck behind enemy lines or something, and you got to work together and stuff like that. It's a very interesting story. It's a single-player story, which is interesting. I thought for sure this was going to be like a co-op game or something like that. But you're stuck in enemy territory, and you gotta kind of have to work together with each other to survive. And so, we'll kind of see. But there seems to be some kind of supernatural element going on here with everything. But it's pretty cool, and they got this cool tech where it's like, your body animations will adjust to the actual level of terrain, so you can kind of see how their legs and stuff like that kind of just adjust to the rocks and stuff like that in a pretty interesting way. So very interested to see how the tacticalness of this and the gunplay will be and stuff like that. And just for like game graphics and stuff, it looks really, really good. So yeah, we'll see kind of how that goes and all that. So Wolf Among Us 2. Now, full disclosure, I never played the original Wolf Among Us. The only Telltale game I ever played was a little bit of the Walking Dead Telltale game and a little bit of the Telltale Jurassic Park game, which is probably my favorite Telltale game out of the whole one. That I did actually beat that one. But yeah, Wolf Among Us was apparently a really popular one of theirs, and we're coming out with a sequel to it. It's apparently supposed to be kind of like a paranormal mixed kind of noir style world, and it's like you're you're a detective and stuff like that, typical noir story stuff, but like in this world with all these different creatures and and beings and all that kind of stuff. So pretty interesting to see. And then so they announced this at Summer's Game Fest, and I was like, okay, that's cool to see. Glad the Telltale's kind of getting back on their feet. I don't know how they could have messed up their success before, way back in the day, but glad to see they're still around and kicking, or they came back or whatever. And then that leads us into The Wolf Among Us Remastered, which apparently was announced right alongside it to, hey, while you're waiting for the sequel, play the original. So that's pretty good. My brother played the original Wolf Among Us. He liked it a lot. So I think he's excited for both this and the sequel to it. So definitely going to be interesting to see what goes on with that one. Another one, this wasn't announced at any Games Fest or anything as far as I'm aware, but it's definitely a bit interesting to see. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee Remastered. So if any of you guys remember way back in the day, this kind of unlocked a core memory for me in my mind when I first saw this, but it's, those old school monster beat 'em up kind of games. I think I played the King Kong version of this or something like that way back in the day. Definitely a fun little just retro game that takes you back to much more simpler times in video games and stuff like that. So very cool, very interesting to see. Might get that myself to get some old school brawling action going on and stuff like that. Moving on, Gears of War E-Day. We got that announcement at the Xbox Games Showcase. Looks really cool, really bloody, really visceral, kind of taking place. It's kind of a prequel to Gears of War, showing off, I guess, like the first opening days of the invasion of whatever, forces like attacking humanity and stuff like that, and the origins of the original crew of soldiers and all that kind of stuff. The Gears or something. I don't know what the fuck they're called. But yeah, it looks really good. Cover system looks really good. It looks pretty fluid. Gunplay looks raw and visceral. There's going to be, I think, co-op or like horde mode or something like that. So that's going to be fun. Xbox console exclusive. So yeah, I guess I'm just going to have to wait for it to come to PC at some point in the future if it doesn't come out on PC alongside it. Apparently this was supposed to be for PlayStation as well, but then I guess, everybody wants Xbox to be exclusive again. So, guess what? They made it Xbox exclusive again. So you get what you ask for, I suppose. I mean, I'm all for brand loyalty and all that kind of stuff. But, at the end of the day, it's like, everybody should be able to play a game. Nobody should have to be forced to use a certain bit of hardware or something like that. It's like iPhones and all that kind of stuff, right? Apple does all this dumb psychological stuff and gets people to peer pressure other people to get iPhones and stuff like that. And it's like, why can't we just all use what we want? I mean, I know Xbox did a terrible, thing with its like branding work where it's like, hey, this is an Xbox and this is an Xbox. And that did kind of hurt their brand platform in a sense. But I mean, I feel like you could have that, but still, give people good incentives to use your hardware over others. But yeah, so maybe I'll check it out. We'll see at some point in the future. But yeah, definitely interested in that. So we'll move on. Another Xbox game showcase, Fable. So this game has been in development for quite some time, and nobody quite knew if it was ever going to come out or get a release date or anything like that. Apparently we do. I think it's coming out here pretty soon. February 23rd, and you can pre-order and get shit. Okay, great. But yeah, so Fable, it's kind of like a fantasy action kind of game. They've got this weird thing going on where it's like these are like former heroes that you're like doing interviews for because you're going to be a new hero and they're going to like take you under their wing or something like that. These guys are apparently magical talking doors that require a puzzle or something done and so that they can open for you or something like that. But yeah, so I'm curious to see what the gameplay and all that kind of stuff will look like and if it'll be how fun it'll be and stuff like that. I could always go for a nice little fantasy adventure like Skyrim, so interesting to see. What are these pre-order bonuses? Okay, armor sets and expansion pass. In-game gifts. Okay, so you're getting some items. Cool. And more in-game gifts. And then chicken suit costume. Great. Fantastic. All right, cool. Oh, and they have like a collector's edition, which does come with the game. Okay. Rockstar. And other collector's editions. But yeah, okay. That looks all right. Cool. All right, moving on. Halo Campaign Evolve with your host, Steve Harvey. That's just a fun little nod there. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how much he kind of looks like Steve Harvey, Sergeant Johnson there. This one, I'm not really interested in it. I've played the Master Chief Collection. I played the original Halo. I've played the original Halo campaign over and over again so many times. And it's a great campaign still, but like, this art style that they're going with Halo, I don't know. Something about it just doesn't sit right with me. And, yeah, that prophet looks interesting. If he is a prophet, I don't even know the significance. There's a couple extra bonus campaigns that are prequel campaigns and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's pretty cool to see, I guess. But, like, I guess there's a ship combat section also. But yeah, I mean, great for PlayStation folks to be able to play Halo on PlayStation for the first time. But I mean, at the same time, I'm just not that interested in it because it's just and then it's like if you, this is what pisses me off right here, right? Get the game early access, you get the fucking battle pass, you get the Halo combat campaign evolved battle pass with your pre-order skins, and then you're like, I mean, there's no multiplayer. They're not remaking the multiplayer. So like, what the fuck are these skins for? Are they for co-op? Is it just so that they can justify however much they're gonna fucking charge for this game? Like, and you know what? Funny enough, I was looking at that, and at first, where was it? I was looking at this on the Steam page, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, they got skins and stuff like that. And then I was like, it snapped in my head, and I was like, hold on a fucking second. And I had to go back and look at this, dude. And it's like, can I blow this up? Is there a way to... All right, bear with me here for a second. Actually, this will be a lot better. There was a way to do this. Hang on. Nope, not that. I mean, you guys can see it right here. Like, look at the similarity between these two images. You got the fucking weapons on display, the PNGs of the weapons. It's the exact same fucking shit as Call of Duty, dude. And it pisses me the fuck off. I'm tired of this shit. They can't even make skins that, like, fit the game well. Like, what is this? This looks like a Darth Ether Master Chief skin from fucking Call of Duty. Like, what the fuck? Spoilers for later on in the video. I mean, the only one that I'm kind of okay with is like this one right here. Like the Hunter Chief, that's a kind of interesting little concept. But like, what the fuck are the rest of these skins? These look like your generic fucking battle pass, pre-order bonus skins and all that kind of stuff that are just, completely ungrounded in the world. It's just ridiculous. I mean, we can't even get like an infection form Master Chief skin. The Flood was like the biggest huge twist and turning point of the original Halo campaign when people first played it. Why don't we have an infected Spartan Master Chief form as a part of this? That'd be kind of cool. You think? But it's because the people that are in charge of Halo at Microsoft right now, they just don't give a fuck anymore. And they've got sales targets and different things to meet, and it's like it pisses me off so much. I'm extremely disappointed in this. Enjoy your Halo slop, PlayStation, because this isn't the original Halo. You're probably getting the worst version of Halo you could possibly get, but I guess you still get it. Even though PC has had Halo forever. But anyways, I'm not going to bat much on that anymore. These two things right at the bottom here pisses me the fuck off so much. Anyways, moving on. State of Decay 3. Not really much to talk about it. My brother is really interested in that. He likes State of Decay. Looks really cool. Zombies look kind of crazy. Base building will probably be dynamic. I think it's also like 4-player co-op or something like that. So that'll be fun. Maybe I'll play it with him and you guys will actually get to see my brother in a video. But yeah, State of Decay 3. Looks interesting. Might check it out. Sea of Thieves is apparently getting an expansion. I've played a little bit of Sea of Thieves lately. I already kind of got bored of it already because everything's just kind of samey. But I mean, it's a great ship pirate game. And they're adding a whole bunch of custom modifiers, so you can do all kinds of crazy stuff, I suppose, with it. So, like spawning in objects and stuff like that. So, I mean, I guess that'll be cool for people to kind of play around with the mechanics and figure out maybe the better ways to optimize things or something like that. But, we'll see. And fun little game modes and stuff like that. Metro 2039. Kind of interested. I played Metro Exodus a little bit. That was pretty nice. The graphics looked really good. Just curious what the gameplay is kind of going to be like. We'll have to just wait and see more. But yeah, new Metro game looks pretty interesting. Crazy Taxi World Tour, getting a new Crazy Taxi game. I think I might have played the original Crazy Taxi way back in the day, but I didn't really ever play it much, but it was kind of one of those legacy franchises where it's like, yeah, how did we not get a new Crazy Taxi game for so long? So it's called World Tour, so I guess that means that, our character is going to be going to different parts of the world, so that'll be interested to see. I'm curious if this K-pop Demon Hunters lady is at all part of the main story, but yeah, so we'll see that come out sometime. All right, moving on. So Xbox is announcing a new limited edition console. And I'll be honest, it looks pretty cool. Finally, they do something fucking creative with their brand and their consoles and stuff like that. Not those dumb fucking Garbo console faceplates, which I guess were fine enough. But I mean, let's be honest, they're just covers. Doesn't spice up your Xbox all that much. It's kind of funny how they showed off this trailer and they showed all this old retro stuff. And then people pointed out oh, wow, this room had all this personality and all that kind of stuff. And then, it all combines together to this limited edition Xbox. But then now, the room is just modern, boring, bland, minimalist, and has no character whatsoever compared to what it had before. But yeah, so, I guess that's Fable gameplay right there. But yeah, it looks cool. There's going to be a limited number of quantities, and they haven't confirmed the price yet. So guess what? Most people are not going to be able to get this, which I think is a real shame. I think if they were going to do this, they should go all out, and they should just sell this version alongside the other ones. But like with the cost of RAM prices and everything today, I'm guaranteeing you it's going to be way more expensive than any normal average person is going to be able to afford. And then, because it's limited edition, that's going to make it even more expensive. And then also, scalpers are probably going to get to it pretty easy and all that. So, here's a really cool limited edition Xbox that kind of throws you back, and it's cool, and it's transparent, and it's got the old green and everything. Probably not going to get it. Apparently, at the Xbox presentation, when they showed this off, they were like, hey, and if you're in this crowd and you have this thing on your badge or whatever, you're getting this limited edition Xbox. And I'm like, that's cool for the people that showed up there. But, I'm sure a lot of people there were industry journalists or insiders or anything like that. And then, or people who paid way super more to get in there and stuff like that. So again, and then those people are only going to eat up the inventory of this console that's already going to be in limited quantities. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess Xbox consoles aren't really selling that well anyway. So who knows? Maybe there'll be enough of those to go around for folks. But I hope that they handle the launch of this limited edition console very good, because no doubt scalpers will try to get their hands on it and drive up the cost even more for that. But the controller will apparently be available separately. So, we'll see how that goes for that one. But pretty cool. All right, moving on. Magicians, the Devil's Deal. This is kind of probably one of the biggest surprises of the Summer Games Fest that people saw, or of the Xbox Game Showcase. It's an interesting game. So it's kind of BioShock-esque, where you're a magician who I guess made a deal with the devil to, like, they were talking about the masters or whatever, who, like, sold his soul for them to become super powerful, but then, like, the devil is like, hey, I'll let you go if you get me all of them. So, kind of a little bit of Cuphead kind of story vibes and all that kind of stuff, but it's got some interesting stuff. It's a first-person magician action game, again, very BioShocky, where you're using your magic wand and cards and all that kind of stuff to use for combat and stuff like that. So surprise little reveal there. People are definitely interested in that. I'm interested in it. So we'll definitely, and I like the art style too. Like the devil looks pretty cool as the character himself. So we'll definitely have to see how that goes. Valor Mortis. Not going to talk too much about this one, but this apparently is a first-person Souls-like game that takes place in a kind of like French Revolution, Napoleonic kind of era, which looks pretty cool. Definitely be interested to see how difficult of a game it is in the combat. There's like jumping around and stuff like that and grapple hooks, which, I mean, is all right, but I kind of like my stuff a little bit grounded. But definitely kind of has some good aesthetics to it, so we'll see how that goes for that one. Spyro, A Realm Beyond, so we're getting a new Spyro game. Let's go. Crash Bandicoot fans are writhing. But anyways, yeah, so new Spyro game. It looks pretty cool. He can apparently fly now in this game, so and fan artists are just going to go crazy. But yeah, it looks like flying in this open world is kind of going to be a big thing in the mechanics of the game, so it'll definitely be interesting to see how that goes. So new Spyro game. Let's go, guys. Xbox is not back, by the way. If anybody tells you that Xbox is back, and I should have said this tangent when I was talking about the limited edition Xbox, but Xbox is not back. Asha Sharma is just a really smart CEO who knows how to please people that are easily pleasable. So by, changing the logo a little bit, making a limited edition console, suddenly making games Xbox exclusives, everybody was asking for that. Like, she literally is just giving people what they're asking for, but it's not because she cares. I mean, I don't know. I don't know Asha Sharma personally, but I mean, any CEO of any corporation, especially someone who formerly worked in AI and Instacart and all that stuff, just cares about doing their job, getting profits, all that kind of stuff, and putting on an appearance that they care, like any other soulless corporation. So by doing all of that, all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, Xbox is back, we're so back. Xbox is climbing back up again. It's like they did the bare fucking minimum of what they should have been doing. And it's not any indication that they're going to change their ways at all. Like, this is all just like minimal people pleaser stuff that just makes the fanboys just go absolutely crazy. And it's crazy to just see how many people are just like, oh, we're so back. Xbox is so back. It's like, no, Xbox is not back. Those days are sadly gone, just like anything else, right? I would still ask for a lot more from Xbox before I would even ever become close to declaring that they're back. So I would ask that anybody who's excited for Xbox to please temper your expectations. keep receiving all the good changes and good news and all that kind of stuff, but don't ever give Xbox the benefit of the doubt that they are any at all interested in your benefit or the customer's benefit. Almost said consumer there. We are consumers to them, but we are customers, so we deserve a lot more. So just kind of keep that expectation in mind. Sorry for that little tangent on there, but I just had to ramble on that because I forgot to mention that during the limited edition Xbox showcase. But yeah, that's my opinions on Xbox right now. Xbox is not back. They're playing you like a damn fiddle. All right, moving on. Clockwork Revolution. Now, this one I was really interested in, even during the first trailer that they showed off on it. And interesting idea for a game. It's like this steampunk kind of aesthetic world. And you've got all these colorful carriers. These colorful characters. God damn. Who exist in this steampunk kind of world. There's, I guess, robot people that exist also. Android people. I don't know what you would call that in a steampunk aesthetic, but looks pretty cool. It seems very dialogue driven, kind of giving old school Elder Scrolls vibes or like the Outer Worlds kind of vibes and stuff like that. And so, I mean, this trailer kind of goes in a little bit. I guess the beginning of the story is that you're trying to do this heist and you guys get caught and then, you know, you travel back in time and then it's like, oh, your actions and choices can shape the future and stuff can appear differently. So like, while this place exists in one timeline, you know, doesn't exist in another. So it's interesting to see exactly how things go on about that. But yeah, looks pretty cool. Definitely interested. Interestingly enough, this one is an Xbox console exclusive, so screw PC players who have been enjoying Xbox on their consoles for forever. I'm sure it'll come to PC at some point, maybe in their special Xbox mode or something like that. Who knows? I'll probably just wait till it comes out on Steam. But yeah, so, and that's coming in February, or not in February, just 2027. So curious to see when that comes out. All right, join us. Just a fun little show this here. It's like a 4-player co-op cult game. We're trying to create a cult to avoid Armageddon and something like that. It looks pretty crazy, pretty fun little co-op game. Imagine if like Far Cry 5 was a 4-player co-op cult building game. So there you go for that. So looks pretty interesting with that. And then we're going on to Nintendo's announcements, which you can see in the number of tabs that I have left. Not really too much from Nintendo that I'm personally interested in. Oh yeah, there's also a new Persona game and a Persona 4 Remastered coming out from the Xbox Showcase, I think. I'm not really a big Persona fan, so sorry if you guys wanted to hear a little bit more about that, but I said Persona 6 and Persona 4 Remastered, so hopefully that's enough for you to, get your socks off and stuff like that. Which I'm not saying Persona is a bad game or anything like that. I'm just saying it's just not personally the thing for me. I haven't played Persona. It doesn't look like a game that I'd personally be interested in playing. So there you go with that. But then we got a big walk release trailer from the Nintendo Direct. So this is a interesting, cozy game that I've been kind of keeping an eye out. And it's like you're these little bird guys, I guess, or something. And it's based on proximity chat, and you're just in this big world, this big open world, and it's like you just kind of have to go around and navigate, and there's puzzles you can solve and all that. I don't know if there's a story to it. Like, I know the premise is that you're in this world with your friends, and you're just kind of exploring and solving puzzles and stuff like that. I hope the puzzle solving and all that leads to something, though. I mean, I understand a cozy game to hang out with your friends and just do whatever, but it's like, but if that's the case, then like make it an open world sandbox kind of game, which this one seems to be leaning more on the exploration and the puzzles per se. So I would hope that there's some kind of like end game goal to this or a lot more stuff that you can do besides just walking and talking with your friends. But we got a release date for it, so it'll be pretty interesting to see. Coming out in August, so there you go for anyone who was interested in that. The Duskbloods, Nintendo's exclusive From Software game. Now, I was certainly interested in this game a little bit, but the fact that it's a Nintendo Switch 2 console exclusive, that kind of turns me away a lot, and I'm sure it's going to turn a lot of other people away because nobody is going to buy a console just to play another FromSoft game. Now, this one, as far as I understand, is going to be a little bit more cooperative based. The art style looks pretty cool, very gothic and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how much From Software is going to put into this because it's an exclusive. I mean, I guess Bloodborne was a PlayStation exclusive, so hey, maybe they'll throw us another banger again, but it's like a PvE kind of game, and so it's definitely kind of interesting. But like literally, this is the second trailer that we've had. We haven't heard anything from Software, and it's like, oh, new trailer, and everybody's like, yes, new FromSoft news. And then it's just all these like little shots of stuff, no gameplay, vague story related stuff, and then closed network tests. Which I guess implies that it's coming out soon. But yeah. So me personally, if I were to have my way with From Software, I would go all out on Night Rain. I fucking love Night Rain. I can't stop playing Elden Ring Night Rain. Can't get enough of it. They could just add and add and add and add and add to that game, and it would just be From Software's biggest cooperative, multiplayer-focused game like of all time. I'm not asking them to stop making single-player stuff, but they got something special with Night Rain, and us Night Rain people have been huffing huge amounts of copium, hoping that From Software acknowledges the diamond in the rough that they have, and they continue to support it. Apparently, it was made with a small team, and it's not actually From Software. But I hope they give it more support, or they come out with a Night Rain 2 that just includes everything from the first game, but then just like, it's like, hey, it's fully live service. We're going to go forward it. We'll have skins and all that stuff that'll pay for this game in the future and all that kind of stuff. I don't think anyone would be upset with that. But we're just going to have to kind of wait and see. But yeah, Duskbloods coming out hopefully soon. Network test if you want to sign up for that. I don't know where you go to sign up for that. They don't give details. But yeah, so a Nintendo console exclusive. So if you have a Switch 2, great for you if you love FromSoft. But also you need Nintendo Switch Online to be able to play it also, which, you know, so another fuck you, I guess. Thanks, Nintendo. My cotton candy is hard and crunchy now. Jesus. All right, the big reveal of this Nintendo Direct. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Very interesting that it is not labeled as a remake. There is no word remake here whatsoever. So I guess this is just the new Ocarina of Time. And if you were hoping that they wouldn't touch and desecrate the original Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, you are sorely mistaken. So not really much else other than that. We got this little mural tale talking about the Kokiri and the forest and Hyrule and all that kind of stuff. Right? Not sure how this is relevant to the plot, but apparently Link is the only one who doesn't have a fairy. And then it goes to this cut here, which it's really hard for me to express how I feel about this aesthetic. You can see he's getting the Triforce of Courage on him, which I guess awakens in him in this instance. I thought he was always just kind of born with it, but I mean, or he gets it when he puts forth the courage to be the champion of courage or something like that. I don't know. It's just, I don't know how I feel about this art style and aesthetic. I mean, it looks high quality, kind of. Textures are still kind of a little low res there. You know, Nintendo, especially with remakes or anything with their stuff, they will put in like the bare minimal effort to when they like when they remake assets or whatever. But yeah, so Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. I guess we'll get an Ocarina 2026, that was kind of surprising, but I guess this has been in development for a while since Tears of the Kingdom. So I guess that makes sense. But again, there's no hard release date. I imagine we'll get an Ocarina of Time remake direct. Again, they don't call it a remake, so like, is this just going to usurp the original? Because that's kind of how it seems. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But, yeah, we'll just have to see. I hope they don't touch Majora's Mask, because I know they're not going to give it the proper love that it deserves if they give it the old remake treatment. Everybody just seems to be making remakes because they know nostalgia is easy to bait people with. And, you know, I'm a hypocrite. I've been a victim of it numerous times. But yeah, it's a bit of caution on my end when they choose to remake something, because that makes me think that they have no original ideas left in them to make anything new or different. And I think the success of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, that they've kind of just run out of ideas of new Zelda games to do. So they're like, hey, let's remake Ocarina of Time. Why not? And I mean, and Nintendo Switch 2. So it's like, it's just going to be a remake on the Switch 2. Why don't you bring some of your older games to other modern hardware? You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to be buying an N64 to play the original Ocarina of Time or anything like that. You know what I mean? So why not bring the old Ocarina of Time to another console or PC or something like that? There's people doing great strides in making PC emulated versions of older Nintendo games available. Why not buy those people, bring them under your Nintendo umbrella, and hire them, pay them money, and have them bring your games over? But I mean, again, Nintendo, they're super protective of their IP, and they don't do nothing with it. And I guess they're creatively bankrupt now, so that all they have in their mind to be able to do for a new game is to just remake an old one, because they think that's probably the safest bet that they can do financially. So we'll just have to see how it turns out. So, yeah. But I hope they don't touch Majora's Mask. We already had remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on the 3DS. You know, so why do you need a remake of Ocarina of Time again? It just doesn't make any sense. 3DS was like two console generations back. Like, we had the Switch and then the Switch 2. I know it was many, many years ago, but I mean, still, I'm not excited for this one. I'm curious to see what they do with it, but I'm not excited. And I'm very skeptical, and I'm wondering why they are not calling it a remake or a remaster specifically. In the title, it's just Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. So it makes it seem like this one is going to be the new official version of it. And just like all their other older IP, they're just trying to shove everything in the past. They don't want anything old. They want new. But anyways, we'll see how that kind of goes on for that one. And last but not least, Nintendo Switch Sports Resort. Ooh boy, as an avid Nintendo Wii Sports fan and a person who has heard a lot of good things about Wii Sports Resort, this is the biggest fucking kick in the ball, slap in the face shit I have ever seen from Nintendo. They thought they could remake the success of Nintendo Switch of Wii Sports. They thought with Nintendo Switch Sports. And now I guess they think that they can do Wii Sports Resort all over again and still fucking get away with it. And I would hopefully think everybody has come wise to the fact that no, Nintendo, we're not going to buy your fucking bullshit anymore. And just like, and I didn't mean to turn this into a ramble tangent video about Nintendo. Fuck, Nintendo's not going to love me. But, it's just like, look at this. So we don't even have, and I immediately knew that this was bullshit when they brought these fucking characters back. They're not even considered me. These are like the Nintendo Switch Sports avatars. And it's like, sure, they've got a bit of customization and all that stuff to them, but it's like, they're just not Wii's. Wii Sports Resort had Mii's in it, and there are still Mii's in it, but like, look at this fucking shit. Where is it? They showed it off somewhere. Yeah, so look, you've got these generic, like, Pokemon anime looking ass fucking characters that have no stylization or personality to them. And no matter how many fucking colors they try to put on them or in their hair or their outfits or whatever. And then, so you can have the Mii character heads, but then they still keep the ugly fucking 3D model bodies and all that kind of stuff. Not even just like the regular minimalist Wii character styles. And then like Tomodachi Life came out with a completely huge customization repertoire of Mii character customization tools and systems and all that kind of stuff. And instead of implementing that into this and making this solely focused on the Miis and the amount of customization you can do for that, no, it's just the old school basic Mii character customization slapped on top of these disgusting poorly 3D modeled bodies with clothes and outfits that have no stylization or anything that matches the actual Mii characters themselves. Like, literally all they do is just replace the head. Literally, it's just replacing the head. It's so fucking disgusting. There's not even the Mii characters on those ones. So you're just like an outlier Mii character in this world of non-Miis that is just... Nintendo just doesn't fucking get it. And then on top of that, it's like we've got bowling. Bowling was in Nintendo Switch Sports. So why is it back in Nintendo Switch Sports Resort? You know what I mean? So like repeating content there. I mean, and I guess the bowling was fun, right? But then we have golf. Golf was an expansion for the original Nintendo Switch Sports Resorts that took ages for them to implement, and it's in the most basic form ever. They are doing this solely to cash in on the fans of the original Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort, and I'm not buying it. I hope not a lot of other people are buying it. It's fucking bullshit. It's half-assed, and it's just to sell money because they want to charge you another $60 fucking dollars. $70 fucking dollars to get all these games that you had before that you loved in the original, except now you have all these ugly ass characters and these graphics that aren't even really that good. Like we had fucking Breath of the Wild, which was this huge open world and a nice cartoony like, and then this is like claymation. I'm just not a big fan of it. It's ugly. It doesn't look good. This world has no soul whatsoever to it. And the characters are ugly, and it's a slap in the face to anybody who loved Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resort. And because Nintendo just can't do anything without getting paid for their work or something like that. That's why they apparently didn't include the Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour, because and it was such a pain in the ass for them to get Wii Sports to be included with the Wii, and this like they're just so fucking they're lazy and they're greedy, and it's just completely uninspired. Like they got thumb wrestling. Like, sure, I guess. Don't like how the proportions kind of jump out here in this screen, but yeah. And these characters, there's no character to these characters. These whatever these guys are called. I don't even want to call them Miis because they're not Miis. You know what I mean? Like, that's a Mii. That's a Mii right there. It's the head of a Mii on an ugly not Mii body. But it's a Mii, and it's like the most basic Mii that you get with the most basic Mii tools. They didn't even bring the Tomodachi Life customization to the actual base Mii character creator in the actual Switch 2 software itself. This pisses me off so much, dude. And I'm sorry that I had to ramble on so much about this. But I just see it for what it is. It's a cash grab. It's pointless. It's there to make money, and it's not even good. It's nothing like the original. But yeah, Nintendo Switch Sports Resort coming in October, I guess. I don't think you'll get as much enjoyment out of it as you want. The multiplayer component for Nintendo Switch Sports wasn't even that good anyways, and they had this weird Battle Royale, and of course you need a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to be able to play any of those games online, and it's just like, it's it is the year that is this year, and internet should be free across all consoles by now. But, you know, essentially your consoles are locked and you can't play online without paying money. So I already pay my internet company for internet, so why should I have to pay for it to use it on my console? That's essentially what it is. But yeah, so anyways, that is everything, guys. So I hope you appreciate. I'm glad you decided to stick around. I guess hopefully through the whole video. So thanks for sticking around for as long as you did. And yeah, this is the Yoko Sector, guys. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Take care, and I'll see you next time.